TV. Very excited to have with us Jeremy Swan, Principal and National Director, Private Equity and Venture Capital Industry Practice for CohnReznick. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Tell us a little bit about what you personally do with CohnReznick.
So at CohnReznick, I play three different roles. I am the National Director of our Private Equity and Venture Capital Industry Practice. I also lead our M&A consulting practice and then work closely with our capital markets team, so our broker-dealer.
Well, let's talk about auctions. What are the advantages of auctions today?
Well, today, given how hot the M&A market is and the number of companies that are moving down that path and the amount of capital available from the buy side, the advantages of running an auction process are you're covering the broadest number of buyers and have the best chance of maximizing the valuation and finding the right partner at the end of the day.
And so how do you help your client prepare? What is so important in preparing?
So in preparing for an auction process, or really preparing for any sale process, the most important thing is for a seller to really understand and look at their business from the context of how a buyer would view their business. So going through the preparation, understanding how you're going to position the business. And when I say preparation, it's not just understanding, okay, what's the process going to look like. It's going through accounting, finance, tax, your IT, your infrastructure, your operations, the overall understanding of your people, your processes, technology, and identifying the key areas where a buyer will identify red flags. And for example, if you are on cash basis accounting and you know that the buyer is really going to need to look at your business from a GAAP basis, not to get too technical, but really making sure they're making those adjustments, presenting the financials in the right light, making sure that that everything is cleaned from a financial and accounting perspective, and that any areas where a buyer may raise issue, you can identify those up front and either fix them before you get into an auction process, or at least be able to get those out in front of a potential buyer and address those as early in the process as you can.
By nature of these being auctions, are there philosophical challenges that you run into, especially with a person who's about to have their property auctioned off or company auctioned off?
Well, there absolutely are. And some buyers or some sellers we work with, they prefer to have a negotiated transaction, find a buyer that they're comfortable with, because a transaction can happen because there's a financial fit, but a transaction will be a success when there's a financial and cultural and philosophical fit. So the right buyer is not always the person who's going to offer the highest price for a business. The right buyer is the one who's going to see the best fit, be the best cultural and philosophical fit with that business and that business's management team, and really have something that's going to be successful both financially and really for all the parties that are involved.
Would you say there is an auction fever underway?
I think I would say that. Right now, and it's really been over the past 18 to 24 months, just where we've seen the M&A market going. I had one of my private equity clients say to me yesterday, we see all the deals that are coming down the pipe within our industry. And every good company that's out there in the market is involved in an auction process. And everyone that's coming to us who's not in an auction process, they're typically deals that we don't even want. We didn't even want to touch them because they're financial issues, or they're industry issues, or they're capital issues. So I think right now, part of it's being driven by the investment bankers being very active. Part of it's being driven by the baby boomer generation reaching an age where they're looking to exit their businesses. So there are a lot of businesses that are out on the market, and the number of auction processes that we're seeing is as high as or as close to as high as it's been since I can remember.
Well, Jeremy, do you see that trend continuing into the rest of 16 and going into 2017, do you think?
Outside of any external factors, I think we definitely expect to see it continue. There are a lot of things that can happen, which can be significant raises in the cost of debt. So if interest rates suddenly shoot up and make debt that much more expensive, that could have a negative impact on the amount of deal flow that's out there, as well as the general economic conditions. As long as businesses continue to produce results and the conditions in the overall economy remain favorable, then I expect to see the M&A market continue at the pace that it currently is. Right now, auctions are driving up valuation. Right. People are seeing that valuations are high, so they're deciding to get into the market. One is it's clearly driving the other. But I think as soon as we start to see valuations come down to more reasonable or below reasonable levels, I think that has a potential to trail off the overall M&A market. I don't see that happening anytime in the next 6 months at least.
Jeremy, great to have you. Thanks for your insight. We appreciate it.